The stars above Earth seemed calm, but behind the blue skies and green forests, humans were preparing for a war the galaxy would never see coming. Captain Daehyun Kim stood in the command center of the newly constructed orbital station, staring at the blinking lights on the control panels. The hum of the engines and the quiet chatter of his crew gave no hint of the storm that was about to erupt. For centuries, humans had lived under the shadow of the Galactic Council. Alien species from countless worlds believed humanity was weak, unorganized, and primitive. They watched Earth with mild interest and occasional annoyance, never seeing humans as a threat. But that perception had changed. Humans had worked quietly, learning, adapting, and building technology faster than any species in the galaxy had ever imagined. Daehyun adjusted his uniform and glanced at Admiral Mirren Lee, who was reviewing fleet data with careful attention. She had been one of the few to understand the importance of the hidden weapons projects on Earth. "Everything is ready, Captain," she said calmly, though her eyes betrayed a sharp tension. "The Council thinks we are still weak. They will regret underestimating us." The orbital station was filled with quiet energy. Every crew member, from engineers to pilots, knew their roles perfectly. They moved with purpose, preparing ships, testing weapons, and running simulations of attacks on Council outposts. Humans had mastered strategy, not through instinct alone, but through endless study and practice. Their ships were small but fast, cloaked to hide in the blackness of space. Their weapons could pierce alien shields that had never been broken before. Commander Sujin Park entered the room, her face set in determination. "Captain, final checks are complete. Our attack vectors are ready. The first strike can begin on your order." She saluted sharply, the confidence in her voice echoing through the control room. She had trained with the best human pilots and had led countless simulations. But this was different. This was real. Daehyun nodded, feeling a chill of anticipation. "Prepare the fleet. Initiate stealth mode. We move in 5 minutes." The command was simple, but it carried weight. 5 minutes from now, the galaxy would wake to a reality it had refused to believe. Humanity was no longer to be ignored. On the surface of Earth, scientists were monitoring the operation. Hae-Won Lim, a lead engineer, checked the signals from the orbital station. Every system was green. Her hands trembled slightly, not from fear, but from the sheer magnitude of what humanity was about to do. "We've done it," she whispered to herself. "We've made them notice us." As the minutes ticked down, the Galactic Council was unaware of the silent storm approaching. Elder Delegate Nari Choi paced in the council chambers, arguing with representatives of other species about Earth's role in the galaxy. "Humans are primitive," she insisted. "They are not a threat. There is no reason to escalate tensions with them." But not all were convinced. Some species had heard rumors of human advancements, whispers of secret fleets and powerful new weapons. Yet the Council had dismissed them as exaggerations. Even now, the thought that humans might be capable of attacking was met with laughter and derision. They could not imagine a species so underestimated rising so quickly. Back on the orbital station, the fleet moved into position. Ships slid through space almost invisibly, their cloaking devices hiding them from any Council sensors. Daehyun watched the fleet status display, feeling a sense of pride. Every ship, every pilot, every crew member had trained for this moment. This was humanity's statement to the galaxy. "You will not be controlled." The first target was a Council outpost on the edge of the solar system. It was heavily defended, with alien warships and automated defense systems. But humans had studied its layout for months. They knew the patterns of patrols, the timing of defenses, the weak points in its shield arrays. This was not a reckless attack. It was precision work, a surgical strike. Sujin Park led the first squadron, her fingers moving over the controls with skill born of countless simulations. Her ship dove from the shadows, weaving through asteroid belts and debris fields, appearing suddenly in the outpost's blind spots. Torpedoes launched with perfect timing, striking key energy nodes and disabling the shield generators. Alien alarms blared, and panic spread through the outpost. The humans were relentless but controlled. They moved quickly, disabling weapons and communications, leaving the outpost intact but helpless. The message was clear. Humans could destroy if needed. But their goal was dominance through strength. It's not mindless destruction. On the Council's main world, panic began to spread. Reports of the attack arrived slowly at first, then in a flood. Delegates shouted over one another, unable to comprehend what was happening. "It cannot be," one alien cried. "Humans cannot be this organized. This precise." Nari Choi's face went pale as she realized that the warnings she had dismissed were real. The humans had attacked, and they had succeeded. Daehan monitored the Council's reactions. Seeing the first signs of fear in their broadcasts, "They are panicking," he said quietly. "Exactly as we hoped. Fear is powerful, and it will make them hesitate." Miran Lee nodded. "Hesitation is an advantage, but we must not let them recover too quickly. We need to continue to make our point clear. Humanity will not bow." Meanwhile, Haewon Lim coordinated with engineers on Earth, ensuring the fleet's supply lines were secure and that new ships could be deployed quickly if needed. The work was exhausting, but every human involved felt a deep sense of purpose. They were no longer passive observers of a galaxy that had ignored them. They were active participants, shaping their own destiny. The humans did not stop at the first outpost. Small squads moved to other strategic points, disabling communication hubs, supply depots, and minor defense stations. Each strike was calculated, each move designed to send a clear message to the Council. Humanity had awakened, and it was capable of war. Council members argued furiously, some advocating negotiation, others demanding immediate retaliation. But the chaos and fear among the delegates made decision-making slow and ineffective. Humans had already created the advantage they needed: confusion and doubt. Captain Daehan Kim reviewed the tactical data. Every attack was successful, every move anticipated. The humans were not merely fighting. They were demonstrating strategy, intelligence, and courage. It was a lesson the galaxy had ignored for too long, Sujin Park reported in after another strike. "Captain, all objectives in this sector are complete. Damage is minimal to infrastructure, but defenses are neutralized. We can hold these positions until reinforcements arrive." Daehan allowed himself a small smile. "Excellent work. Return to stealth mode and prepare for further orders. The Council needs to see that humanity is unstoppable when united." On Earth, people watched the events unfold through secure channels. Citizens had been briefed on the operations, and a quiet pride filled the planet. For centuries, humans had been underestimated. Now, they were showing the galaxy that Earth's people were a force to be reckoned with. Ordinary humans with ordinary lives had built technology, trained fleets, and prepared minds for a challenge that no one believed they could meet. As the first night of the attacks concluded, Daehan looked out at the stars. Each twinkle seemed to carry the weight of history and the promise of the future. Humans had taken their first step into galactic prominence, not with arrogance, but with determination and unity. They had proven to themselves and to the galaxy that they were more than what others believed. In the council chambers, fear had turned into panic. Alien delegates spoke frantically, trying to make sense of the sudden human aggression. Nari Choi called for calm, but her voice was drowned by the chaos. No one had prepared for humans to act with such speed and intelligence. They had ignored Earth for too long, and now the galaxy was paying the price. Daehan turned to Miran Lee. "This is only the beginning. The Council will recover eventually, but by then, we will have already secured our place. They will learn that humans are not to be underestimated." Miran nodded. "Yes, and we will make sure that every step we take reminds them of that truth." In the shadows of space, the human fleet slipped back into stealth, their first strikes complete. The galaxy had awoken to a new reality. Humanity was no longer a minor species to be ignored. They were a power rising with intelligence, courage, and an unbreakable will, and the Council, once so confident in their superiority, was finally beginning to understand the mistake they had made in underestimating Earth. Panic had erupted among the stars. And the humans had only just begun their declaration of total war. The first strikes had sent shockwaves through the Galactic Council, but humans were far from finished. Captain Dae-hyun Kim studied the latest reports in the command center aboard the orbital station. Every detail confirmed what they had hoped. Panic and confusion were spreading among the alien delegates. But Dae-hyun knew that hesitation could be dangerous. The council might recover if humans delayed. They had to keep moving, striking with precision and control. Commander Sujin Park entered the room. Her uniform slightly scuffed from the last engagement, but her eyes shining with determination. "Captain, we are ready to move to the next set of targets. Communications hubs, supply depots, and smaller defense stations. Each strike has been carefully planned." Dayan nodded, his mind calm but focused. "Good. Launch the squadrons. Timing is critical. We cannot allow them to regroup." The human fleet moved silently, using stealth technology to slip through asteroid fields and unmonitored regions of space. The ships appeared suddenly near the first target, catching alien patrols off guard. Commander Sujin led the first squadron, weaving between enemy ships and automated turrets. Each torpedo and laser shot was aimed to disable rather than destroy, leaving the structures intact but powerless. Humans were not here to kill unnecessarily. They were here to make a point. In one sector, squadron leader Tae-hee Kwan piloted her ship with expert precision. She darted through a narrow asteroid field, avoiding detection while her weapons took out power nodes that fed the defense systems. Explosions lit the dark expanse of space in brief flashes, and alien ships scrambled in confusion. Taehee's squadron followed seamlessly, each pilot knowing exactly when to fire, when to maneuver, and when to retreat. Meanwhile, on Earth, engineer Hae-won Lim coordinated the logistics for the fleet. She monitored supply lines and ensured that every ship had enough energy and ammunition to continue operations. Her fingers flew over her console, adjusting calculations in real time. Humans had trained for this moment for years, and now all that preparation was paying off. Every success built morale across the fleet. On the Galactic Council's main world, the alien delegates were in chaos. Reports of the human strikes came faster than anyone could process. Nari Choi tried to calm the delegates. "We must remain composed. Humans are skilled, but we have the numbers and technology to counter them." Ever, her words fell flat. Panic had already spread through the chambers, and fear began to dominate logic. No one had anticipated humans would act with such speed, intelligence, and coordination. Secretly, some delegates began to whisper about negotiating with humans. They feared full-scale retaliation would be catastrophic, and the Council's previous dismissals now seemed foolish. Ambassador Jin Ho-yoon had anticipated this. He had studied alien politics and knew that fear could be a powerful tool. He communicated quietly with certain factions, subtly manipulating their decisions to create hesitation and conflict within the Council. Back in space, Captain Dae-hyun issued new orders. "Prepare for simultaneous strikes on the remaining targets. We will hit multiple sectors at once to maximize impact and confusion." His voice carried calm authority. The human fleet responded immediately, moving with precision across different sectors. Each squadron knew its target and executed attacks flawlessly. Commander Sujin led another strike, this time disabling a communications relay that connected multiple alien sectors. By cutting these lines, humans ensured that the Council could not coordinate a unified response. Alien fleets were forced to act independently, often making mistakes that humans anticipated and exploited. Tae-hee Kwan's squadron moved to a supply depot, where alien cargo ships were stationed. The humans disabled engines and weapons without destroying the resources. The message was clear: humans could destroy, but they preferred to demonstrate intelligence and strategy. Every strike emphasized their capability and discipline. In orbit around the Council world, Captain Dae-hyun observed alien ships rushing to respond. Some attempted to pursue human vessels, only to find themselves trapped in carefully planned maneuvers that led them away from critical areas. The humans used deception and strategy rather than brute force, and it worked brilliantly. Each engagement sent alien commanders into deeper confusion. On Earth, civilians watched updates with pride. Scientists, engineers, and pilots worked together seamlessly, demonstrating human ingenuity and teamwork. Ordinary citizens understood that humanity was making a bold statement. We are strong, united, and capable of defending our own future. Across the globe, a sense of quiet determination spread, reinforcing the belief that humans could achieve the impossible. Meanwhile, in the council chambers, arguments escalated. Some factions wanted immediate retaliation, while others feared further attacks. Narichoi's attempts to enforce order failed. The council was divided, and humans exploited this division. Ambassador Jinho Yun continued his secret negotiations, subtly guiding alien factions into confusion and indecision. The humans had effectively created fear and hesitation, a strategic advantage they intended to maintain. As human fleets completed their strikes, Daehain issued a pause. Hold positions. Observe reactions. We need the Council to realize the extent of our capability before the next phase. The fleet remained cloaked, ready to respond if alien forces attempted a counterattack. Humans were patient, understanding that psychological impact was as important as physical strikes. Engineer Haewon Lim monitored the systems and reported, "All operations completed successfully. Fleet integrity is intact. No major losses." Her words were met with relief and quiet celebration. The humans had shown precision, intelligence, and discipline, traits the Council had never associated with Earth. As the hours passed, reports came in from all targeted sectors. Alien defenses were disabled, supply lines were interrupted, and communications were fragmented. The Council struggled to understand the scale of human capability. Each report reinforced the realization that humans were not merely reacting, they were planning, strategizing, and controlling the flow of the conflict. Captain Daehain addressed the command staff. "Our message is clear. Humans are united, intelligent, and capable of war. The Council must understand that underestimating us was a mistake. We will continue to demonstrate our strength until they recognize our place in the galaxy." No. The room nodded in agreement, the crew feeling the weight of history in their hands. Commander Sujin Park reported in, "Captain Matt, a set of targets is ready. Alien reinforcements are on the move, but our reconnaissance shows they are disorganized and slow." Daehain smiled slightly. "Then we strike where they are weakest. Humans do not attack recklessly. We attack with precision and strategy. Prepare the fleet." In the council chambers, panic had reached new heights. Alien leaders were shouting, blaming one another, and trying to assign responsibility. Narichoi struggled to maintain control, but even she felt the weight of human capability pressing against her confidence. The delegates had ignored warnings for too long, and now the reality was undeniable. Humanity was a force to be reckoned with. On Earth, citizens and military personnel alike followed updates in tense silence. Each report of success brought a mixture of pride and anticipation. The humans had proven that their unity and intelligence could overcome even the most advanced alien technology. The sense of possibility and destiny filled the planet with a quiet, determined energy. Captain Daehain reviewed fleet data once more. Every squadron was ready, every ship accounted for, and every human involved understood the mission. The next phase would expand the impact of their strikes, demonstrating not only physical capability, but strategic mastery. Humans were not just fighting, they were teaching the galaxy a lesson it would never forget. Commander Sujin Park and Squadron. Leader Tae-hee Kwan prepared their teams for the upcoming operations. Every pilot understood the importance of timing, coordination, and precision. Humans had trained for this, studied tactics, and refined their strategies for years. Now, it was time to apply that knowledge in the real world. The human fleet moved into new positions, ready to launch further strikes. Each ship was cloaked, appearing silently in sectors previously believed safe by the Council. The alien commanders had no idea where the humans would strike next, and this uncertainty caused fear to spread even further. Captain Daehain issued the final orders for the second phase. Begin coordinated strikes on all designated targets. Remember, Precision and strategy are our greatest weapons. Show the Council that humans do not act recklessly, but we will not be ignored. The fleet responded immediately, moving with synchronized precision across space. The strikes were swift and devastating. Alien communications were disrupted, supply lines severed, and defense stations neutralized. Humans demonstrated intelligence in every move, showing that they could control the flow of the conflict, not simply react to it. Alien forces struggled to adapt, often making mistakes that humans had anticipated. On Earth, the mood was electric. Scientists, engineers, and military personnel watched each success with a mixture of relief and excitement. They had waited for this moment for years, and now the world could see what humans were capable of. The victories were not just military, they were proof of ingenuity, planning, and determination. In the council chambers, fear had turned into near hysteria. Alien delegates argued, shouted, and blamed one another. Some suggested surrender, while others demanded immediate retaliation. Nari Choi's attempts to maintain order failed. The council was paralyzed by fear and indecision. Humans exploited this advantage fully. Captain Dehan observed the chaos from orbit. We have made our point. Humans are capable, intelligent, and united. The Council now understands that underestimating us was a mistake. He looked at Admiral Miran Lee. This is only the beginning. Humanity will continue to demonstrate its strength until the galaxy recognizes our place. She nodded in agreement as the fleet returned to holding positions. Cloaked and ready for further orders, humans on Earth celebrated quietly. They had made their first decisive moves, demonstrating intelligence, strategy, and unity. The Galactic Council, once confident in its control, was now in panic. Humans had sent a message that would echo across the stars. We are no longer to be ignored, and we are ready to fight for our future. The galaxy was waking to a new reality. Humanity had struck first, and struck with precision. Captain Daehyun Kim observed the results of the second phase of attacks from the command center of the orbital station. Alien sectors were in chaos, supply lines disrupted, and communication networks shattered. Yet, he knew that the Council's panic was only the beginning. Humans had to maintain pressure, and the next phase would test their endurance and strategy. Commander Sujin Park checked in with her squadron. Her face calm, but her voice filled with purpose. Captain, the next sectors are ready. We have identified weak points in the alien patrols and defense systems. Timing will be critical. She paused briefly. We will need full coordination across all squadrons. Daehyun nodded, understanding the weight of her words. Coordination was humanity's greatest strength. Any misstep could give the Council a chance to recover. The human fleet moved into position silently. Cloaked ships slipped through asteroid fields and dark space lanes, appearing suddenly at the edges of alien sectors. Squadron leader Tae-hee Kwan led a unit to disable energy hubs that powered multiple defense stations. Her pilots followed orders with near-perfect precision, striking key points without alerting the larger alien fleets. Explosions illuminated the blackness of space, brief and controlled, demonstrating both power and restraint. On Earth, Hae-Won Lim coordinated with engineers and scientists. They monitored the fleet, ensuring every ship had sufficient energy, ammunition, and backup systems ready. The operation was complex, but humans had trained for years. Every calculation, every maneuver, and every strategy was tested and refined. This was not a reckless attack. It was a demonstration of skill, intelligence, and unity. In the Galactic Council chambers, fear had grown into panic. Elder Delegate Nari Choi tried to speak calmly, but her voice was drowned by arguments and accusations. Humans cannot be this organized, she exclaimed. We must respond immediately. Other delegates disagreed, unsure how to act. Some feared retaliation, while others demanded that the Council use its full military force. Confusion and disagreement made decision-making nearly impossible. Meanwhile, Ambassador Jin Ho-yoon worked behind the scenes, reaching out to certain alien factions in secret. He exploited fear and indecision to create further delays. Some factions began questioning their council representatives, debating whether to act independently. This internal division was exactly what humans needed, and Deihayan observed it quietly from orbit. Understanding the power of psychological strategy, the first squadron moved against a communications hub connecting multiple sectors. Commander Sujin Park led the operation, her ship weaving through automated defenses and patrols. Torpedoes struck precise points, disabling transmissions without destroying the facility entirely. The message was deliberate. Humans could destroy, but they preferred to demonstrate control and intelligence. Alien commanders scrambled, unable to understand how such a small force could achieve so much. Tahi Kwan's squadron advanced on a supply depot, disabling engines and weapon systems. Alien cargo ships were rendered immobile, leaving vital resources vulnerable. Humans were not merely attacking, they were teaching a lesson in strategy and foresight. Each move emphasized that humans were not reckless. They were calculated, intelligent, and united. Back on Earth, citizens watched secure transmissions of the attacks. Pride and determination spread across the globe. Humans had been underestimated for centuries. And now the galaxy was beginning to realize that Earth's people were capable, intelligent, and united. Ordinary humans, from engineers to pilots to scientists, were proving that they could act with precision and effectiveness in the most extreme circumstances. As human fleets completed their initial strikes, Deihayan issued a temporary pause. "Hold positions and monitor reactions," he instructed. The fleet remained cloaked and ready, observing alien movements. Psychological impact was as important as physical strikes, and humans intended to maximize both. Alien commanders were forced to operate with uncertainty. Unsure where the next attack would come from, reports flowed in from all targeted sectors. Alien defenses were compromised, communication lines fractured, and supply routes disrupted. The Council's inability to respond effectively revealed gaps in their strategy. Humans had anticipated these weaknesses and exploited them fully. Each report reinforced the growing fear that humans were no longer the weak species the Council had assumed. In orbit, Deihayan addressed his command staff. "Our actions are proving humanity's capability and intelligence. The Council must recognize that underestimating us was a grave error. Continue monitoring, but remain ready for further engagement." His words inspired confidence. Humans had prepared for years, and now their training and planning were being realized in practice. Commander Sujin Park and Squadron Leader Tae-hee Kwan briefed their pilots on the next phase. Coordination, timing, and precision were emphasized again. Humans had mastered strategy through careful study and rigorous training, and this was the moment to apply it. Each pilot understood their role, their target, and the broader purpose of their actions. The human fleet moved to new positions for simultaneous strikes on additional sectors. Cloaked ships appeared silently at the periphery, avoiding detection. Alien patrols reacted too slowly, unable to anticipate the precision and timing of human maneuvers. Uncertainty and fear spread among alien commanders, who began to doubt their own strategies and decisions. Deihayan issued the final orders for the third phase. Begin coordinated strikes. Focus on weak points and avoid unnecessary destruction. Show the Council that humanity is strategic, intelligent, and united. Squadrons responded instantly, executing orders with precision. Each strike reinforced the lesson humans intended to teach. Do not underestimate Earth. The attacks were swift and precise. Alien communication lines were disrupted, supply networks severed, and defense stations disabled. Humans demonstrated not only physical capability, but strategic mastery. Alien forces, disorganized and confused, struggled to respond effectively. Humans maintained initiative, controlling the flow of battle and keeping the Council off balance. On Earth, civilians and military personnel observed the ongoing successes with pride and anticipation. Every achievement reinforced the belief that humans could achieve what others thought impossible. The operation was more than a military action, it was proof of ingenuity, planning, and unity. The message was clear. Humans were capable, intelligent, dated, and not to be underestimated. Within the council chambers, fear and confusion reached a peak. Delegates argued, shouted, and blamed one another. Some factions proposed surrender, while others demanded immediate retaliation. Nari Choi struggled to maintain order, but her influence was weakening. Alien factions began questioning leadership and considering independent action. The Council's paralysis was the perfect demonstration of humanity's strategic advantage. Captain Daehin watched the chaos unfold with satisfaction. "We have proven our point," he said quietly to Miran Lee. "Humans are capable, intelligent, and united. The Council now understands that underestimating us was a mistake." Miran nodded, her expression reflecting the seriousness of their mission. "This is only the beginning. Humanity will continue to demonstrate strength until the galaxy recognizes our place." The fleet returned to holding positions, cloaked and ready for further orders. Humans had achieved more than victories in space. They had sent a clear message to the galaxy. Earth was no longer a minor player, when humanity would fight for its future. The Council, once confident in its control, now faced a new reality. Panic had spread across the stars, and humans had proven they were capable of strategy, precision, and intelligence beyond expectation. In the silence of space, the human fleet prepared for the next phase of operations. Every pilot, engineer, and scientist knew their role and the importance of timing, coordination, and precision. Humans were not only striking, they were teaching a lesson that would be remembered across the galaxy. The first wave of attacks had demonstrated capability. The next wave would solidify humanity's reputation as a force to be reckoned with, and as the stars stretched endlessly above, Captain Daehin Kim and his crew understood the truth. Humanity was no longer underestimated. The galaxy had begun to awaken to the power, intelligence, and unity of Earth's people. And there was no turning back. The chaos in the Galactic Council grew worse with each passing hour. Alien delegates shouted over one another, trying to make sense of the relentless human strikes. Decisions were delayed, arguments fell. Aired and panic became the dominant emotion. Elder Nari Choi attempted to assert control, but her voice was barely heard above the tumult. The council was in disarray. Humans had no intention of giving them a moment to recover. Captain Daehin Kim observed the reports from orbit, noting each successful strike and its effect on council sectors. The precision, speed, and intelligence displayed by human forces had far exceeded expectations. Every decision the council tried to make was anticipated and countered. Leaving alien leaders confused and fearful, Commander Sujin Park reviewed tactical data with her squadron leaders. "The council's communication lines are fragmented," she reported. "Reinforcements are delayed, and some factions are questioning leadership. We must exploit this." Her eyes glinted with determination. Humans had prepared for years for this moment. Every training exercise, simulation, and strategy session had led to this opportunity to demonstrate the full strength and ingenuity of Earth's people. In the council chambers, panic was palpable. Delegates argued fiercely, some demanding retaliation, while others begged for negotiation. Fear was spreading faster than logic. Nari Choi tried to restore order, but hesitation and indecision crippled her. Alien factions turned against each other, accusing one another of incompetence and betrayal. The council's unity, once its greatest strength, had fractured completely. Ambassador Jin Ho-yoon acted swiftly, communicating secretly with certain alien factions. He sowed doubt, fear, and distrust, guiding them toward indecision. By subtly manipulating council politics, he created an environment where humans could strike repeatedly without facing coordinated resistance. Daehin observed quietly from orbit, understanding that intelligence and strategy were often more powerful than raw force. The human fleet moved with purpose, targeting weak points in alien patrols, supply lines, and defense installations. Squadron leader Tae-hee Kwan guided her pilots through asteroid belts and unmonitored regions of space, striking at energy nodes and communication hubs with precision. Explosions illuminated the darkness briefly, demonstrating power and control without unnecessary destruction. Every move emphasized intelligence, coordination, and discipline. on Earth. Engineer Hay-1 Lim coordinated logistics, monitoring fleet energy levels, ammunition, and system integrity. She ensured that reinforcements and resupply missions could operate without interruption. Her work allowed human forces to maintain the pressure without fatigue or error. Civilians and military personnel alike followed updates, understanding that humans were no longer passive observers of the galaxy, but active participants shaping their own destiny. The Council attempted to respond, deploying fleets to intercept human forces. However, confusion and miscommunication hampered their efforts. Alien ships moved slowly, often attacking in isolation or along predictable paths. Humans had anticipated these moves, exploiting weaknesses and avoiding direct confrontations where risk was unnecessary. The psychological impact of this strategy was immense. Alien commanders, unable to predict human tactics, became increasingly hesitant and fearful. Captain Dayhine issued new orders: continue coordinated strikes, maintain stealth and avoid unnecessary destruction, exploit confusion and indecision. Show the Council that humanity is not only capable of war, but of superior strategy. Squadrons responded instantly, executing maneuvers with precision. Each strike reinforced the lesson humans intended to teach. Do not underestimate Earth's Commander Sujin Park. Led a squadron to a critical communication hub connecting multiple Council sectors. Her ship navigated through automated defenses and patrols, reaching the hub undetected. Torpedoes struck the key nodes, disabling transmissions while leaving infrastructure intact. The alien response was delayed and disorganized. Confirming the effectiveness of human tactics, Tae-hee Kwan targeted a supply depot, disabling engines and weapon systems without causing unnecessary destruction. Alien cargo ships were rendered immobile, leaving vital resources vulnerable. Humans were demonstrating a new form of warfare, precise, intelligent, and psychologically impactful. Every decision highlighted the strategic depth and discipline that humans possessed. Reports from the fleet indicated that multiple sectors were now crippled. Unable to communicate or resupply effectively, alien fleets were hesitant to engage, unsure of human intentions and capabilities. Panic and fear spread further among Council members, weakening their ability to coordinate and respond. Humans were controlling the flow of the conflict. Dictating terms without direct confrontation were unnecessary. On Earth, citizens watched updates with pride and anticipation. Ordinary humans had contributed to extraordinary achievements, proving ingenuity, determination, and unity. The victories were more than military. They were a testament to human intelligence, planning, and cooperation. Across the planet, morale was high, and belief in the human capacity for greatness spread like wildfire. Captain Dahan addressed the command staff. We have fractured the Council. Their panic, indecision, and infighting give us the advantage. Maintain readiness and pressure. Humans will continue to demonstrate our strength and strategy until the galaxy recognizes our place. His words resonated through the control room, inspiring confidence and focus among the crew. Commander Sujin Park and Squadron Leader Tae-hee Kwan prepared their teams for further operations. Coordination, timing, and precision remained paramount. Humans had mastered strategy through years of study and rigorous training, and this was the moment to apply their knowledge effectively. Each pilot understood their role, their target, and the broader purpose of their actions. The human fleet moved into new positions for simultaneous strikes on remaining vulnerable sectors. Cloaked ships appeared silently at the periphery, avoiding detection. Alien patrols reacted too slowly, unable to anticipate the precision and timing of human maneuvers. Confusion and fear intensified among alien commanders, who doubted their own strategies and decisions. Captain Daehyun issued the final orders for this phase. Execute coordinated strikes. Focus on weak points and avoid unnecessary destruction. Humans are strategic, intelligent, and united. Demonstrate that strength lies not only in weapons, but in planning unity and foresight. The squadrons responded with perfect synchronization, executing maneuvers that disabled multiple Council sectors simultaneously. The attacks were effective and precise. Alien communication lines were cut, supply networks disrupted, and defensive installations rendered powerless. Humans demonstrated not just raw strength, but strategic mastery. Alien forces, disorganized and hesitant, struggled to respond effectively. Initiative remained firmly in human hands, dictating the pace and direction of conflict. On Earth, civilians and military personnel celebrated quietly but purposefully. Humans had proven their intelligence, strategy, and capability. The operation was a demonstration of human ingenuity and unity, showing the galaxy that Earth's people could plan, coordinate, and execute complex operations flawlessly. Pride and determination filled the planet, reinforcing humanity's sense of destiny. Within the council chambers, fear and confusion peaked. Delegates shouted, accused, and demanded action. Some factions suggested surrender, while others called for full-scale retaliation. Nari Choi struggled to maintain control but failed. Alien factions questioned leadership and considered independent action. Humans had achieved psychological dominance, controlling the council's decision-making without direct confrontation. Captain Daehyun watched the unfolding chaos from orbit. "We have proven our point," he said to Admiral Moranley. "Humans are intelligent, strategic, and united. The Council now understands that underestimating us was a grave mistake." Miran nodded, acknowledging the importance of the operation. "This is only the beginning. Humanity will continue to demonstrate our strength until the galaxy respects our place." The fleet held positions, cloaked and ready for further orders. Humans had achieved more than military success. They had demonstrated intelligence, coordination, and psychological dominance. The Council, once confident in its control, now faced the undeniable reality. Humanity was capable, united, and a force that could not be ignored. In the silent vastness of space, the human fleet prepared for the next stage. Every pilot, engineer, and scientist understood the importance of timing, coordination, and precision. Humans were not only striking, they were teaching a lesson that would echo across the galaxy. The first wave of attacks had demonstrated capability. The ongoing operations solidified humanity's reputation as a power to be reckoned with. As the stars stretched endlessly above, Captain Daehyun Kim and his crew understood the truth. Humanity had awakened the galaxy to its potential. The Council's panic, confusion, and hesitation were proof that humans were no longer underestimated. Earth's people had shown intelligence, strategy, and unity beyond expectation. And the next phase of conflict would further ensure that the galaxy recognized humanity's rightful place. The galaxy was in turmoil. News of human strikes had spread, and panic was reaching deeper into the council chambers. Captain Daehyun Kim stood in the command center, reviewing intelligence reports from all affected sectors. The council's fleets were scattered, communications fragmented, and morale among alien commanders collapsing. Humans had achieved the strategic advantage they had trained for. But Daehyun knew the next phase had to be decisive. Commander Sujin Park entered, her eyes steady with determination. "Captain, squadrons are ready for the next phase. We have identified multiple weak points across council sectors. Timing and coordination are critical." Daehyun nodded. "Good. Launch squads and staggered attacks. Exploit confusion and maintain stealth where possible. The Council must see that humans are both intelligent and unstoppable." The human fleet slipped through deep space lanes, cloaked and silent. Ships moved like shadows, appearing suddenly at the edges of alien sectors. Squadron leader Tae-hee Kwan led a squadron toward a communications hub. Her pilots followed her with near-perfect timing, disabling power nodes and scrambling data arrays. Alien commanders reacted too slowly, unable to understand how such a small force could achieve such precise destruction. On Earth, Haewon Lim and her team coordinated logistics. They ensured ships had energy, ammunition, and repairs ready, anticipating every need before it arose. Civilians and scientists monitored operations, feeling pride and hope. Humans had been underestimated for centuries, and now Their intelligence, discipline, and unity were undeniable. In the council chambers, panic had reached unprecedented levels. Delegates argued and shouted, seeking someone to blame for their failures. Elder Nari Choi tried to assert control, but fear and indecision paralyzed the council. Alien factions debated surrender versus retaliation, unable to agree on any course of action. Humanity had fractured their unity, and psychological dominance had been established. Ambassador Jin Ho-yoon continued to exploit council confusion. Secret negotiations with certain alien factions deepened distrust among delegates. Miscommunication, fear, and doubt spread rapidly, giving humans freedom to dictate the pace of operations. Dae-hyun observed silently. Knowing that the psychological aspect of war was as crucial as the physical, the human fleet moved to strike multiple targets simultaneously. Commander Sujin Park guided her squadron to a supply depot, disabling engines and weapon systems while leaving valuable resources intact. This demonstrated that humans were capable of destruction, but preferred intelligence and strategy. Alien ships scrambled, unsure of how to respond effectively. Tae-hee Kwan's squadron targeted a planetary defense station. Torpedoes and lasers struck precise weak points, rendering turrets and energy nodes useless. Humans advanced without recklessness, proving their superior tactics. Alien forces could not predict their movements, and hesitation spread further. Each successful strike reinforced the Council's fear. Reports came from multiple sectors. Communications down, supply chains interrupted, defenses neutralized. Alien fleets were hesitant to engage, lacking confidence and cohesion. The human strategy of controlled, precise attacks maintained momentum and reinforced the psychological advantage. Humans had seized the initiative and were controlling the galaxy's perception of strength and intelligence. Captain Dae-hyun reviewed the operations. "We are achieving exactly what we planned. The Council is divided, fearful, and disorganized. Maintain pressure and readiness. Humans will continue to show intelligence, unity, and dominance in strategy." His voice inspired focus and calm among the crew, reinforcing the discipline that had carried them through years of preparation. Commander Sujin Park and Tae-hee Kwan briefed their squadrons for the next wave. Timing, precision, and coordination remained critical. Humans had mastered strategy, and now they applied it with lethal intelligence. Every pilot knew their role, their target, and the broader strategic impact of their actions. The fleet moved into new positions for coordinated strikes across remaining vulnerable sectors. Cloaked ships appeared silently, avoiding detection and anticipating enemy reactions. Alien patrols responded too slowly, further spreading confusion and fear. Commanders questioned decisions, doubted intelligence, and hesitated at every move. The psychological impact was complete. Dae-hyun issued final orders for this phase. Execute coordinated strikes. Target weak points. Avoid unnecessary destruction. Humans are strategic, intelligent, and united. Every action must reinforce that we cannot be underestimated. Squadrons followed immediately, executing attacks with flawless timing. The strikes were devastatingly effective. Alien communication lines remained down, supply networks severed, and defensive installations neutralized. Humans demonstrated not only strength, but strategic mastery. Alien forces, disorganized and hesitant, could not mount a coherent response. Initiative was firmly in human hands, controlling the flow and direction of the conflict. On Earth, civilians and military personnel observed operations with quiet pride. Humans had proven their intelligence, planning, and cooperation. Each victory reinforced confidence and hope. Humanity's ability to act strategically and unitedly had transformed them. From an underestimated species into a formidable galactic power, Council delegates descended into chaos. Accusations, demands for immediate action, and fear-filled arguments dominated the chambers. Some factions proposed surrender. Others demanded retaliation without strategy. Nuri Choi struggled to maintain control, but human actions had already ensured that psychological dominance had been established. Alien leaders questioned each other, their confidence shattered. Captain Daehyun observed events from orbit. "We have demonstrated humanity's capability," he said quietly to Mir and Lee. "The Council understands that underestimating us was a grave mistake." Miran nodded. "This is only the beginning. Humanity will continue to assert its strength until the galaxy recognizes our place." The fleet remained cloaked, holding positions, and ready for further orders. Humans had achieved more than military victories. They had proven intelligence, strategy, and psychological dominance. In the endless black of space, the human fleet prepared for the next stage. Every pilot, engineer, and scientist understood the importance of timing, coordination, and precision. Humans were not simply attacking, they were teaching the galaxy a lesson in discipline, intelligence, and unity. The first strikes had demonstrated capability. The ongoing operations solidified humanity's reputation as a force that could not be ignored. As stars stretched across the sky, Captain Daehyun Kim and his crew realized the truth. Humanity had awakened the galaxy to its potential. Panic, confusion, and hesitation among council members were proof that humans were no longer underestimated. Earth's people had demonstrated intelligence, strategy, and unity beyond expectation. The next phase of the war would further establish humanity's rightful place in the galaxy. The galaxy was tense. Alien fleets moved nervously, unsure of how to respond to humanity's relentless precision strikes. Captain Daehyun Kim studied intelligence reports from all active sectors. Humans had crippled key communications, supply lines, and defensive structures. Alien fleets were scattered, morale low, and hesitation was everywhere. Daehyun knew that now was the moment to solidify humanity's advantage and push the Council to the edge. Commander Sujin Park approached, calm and confident. "Captain, we have identified remaining vulnerable sectors. Timing and coordination are critical. Squadrons are ready." Her steady voice reassured the crew who had been on high alert for weeks. Daehyun nodded. "Prepare the fleet for simultaneous strikes. Maintain stealth where necessary. Every action must demonstrate intelligence, strategy, and unity. We need to show the Council that humans are not to be underestimated." The fleet moved silently, cloaked against alien sensors. Ships glided through asteroid belts, avoiding detection, before emerging at the edges of Council-controlled sectors. Squadron leader Tae Kwan guided her unit toward a major communications hub. Pilots followed with precision, disabling key nodes while leaving infrastructure intact. Alien commanders struggled to comprehend the efficiency and skill of the human forces. On Earth, A1 Lim coordinated logistics and supplies. Engineers monitored energy levels, weapons systems, and fleet integrity, ensuring that every human vessel was prepared for extended operations. Civilians and military personnel watched in awe as humans executed the complex campaign with intelligence and discipline. For centuries, Earth had been underestimated. Now, humans were proving their strategic and technological superiority to the galaxy. In the council chambers, panic had reached new heights. Delegates argued violently, some calling for full retaliation, others pleading for negotiation. Fear and confusion dominated. Elder Nari Choi tried to maintain control, but the council was fractured. Alien factions blamed one another for failures, unable to coordinate a unified response. The human plan of psychological dominance was working perfectly. Ambassador Jin Ho-yoon acted behind the scenes, deepening distrust among council factions. His secret communications created further confusion, making it nearly impossible for the council to act decisively. Daehyun watched reports and smiled. Humans had not only gained a military advantage, but had effectively used strategy and intellect to manipulate the political landscape. The human fleet moved toward remaining critical sectors. Commander Sujin Park led an assault on a supply hub, disabling engines and weapons without destroying valuable materials. This precise action demonstrated discipline, strategy, and intelligence. Alien forces scrambled to react but were too slow, often falling into carefully planned traps designed to avoid necessary casualties while maintaining control. Tae-He. Kwan's squadron attacked a defense station protecting a vital sector. Torpedoes struck weak points, rendering turrets and power nodes useless. Humans advanced systematically, showing not only strength, but strategy and foresight. Alien commanders hesitated, unsure of the humans' next move. Spreading fear and indecision further, reports came in from multiple sectors: communications down, supply chains interrupted, defenses neutralized. Alien fleets moved cautiously, lacking confidence in leadership. The human strategy of precise, intelligent attacks maintained momentum and reinforced psychological advantage. Initiative remained firmly in human hands. Controlling the conflict's flow, Captain Dehayan addressed the command staff. "We have fractured the Council completely. Panic and indecision are our allies. Maintain readiness, pressure, and precision. Humanity will continue to demonstrate intelligence, unity, and strategic mastery." His words inspired focus and discipline among the crew. Reaffirming the training and preparation that had brought them to this point, Commander Sujin Park and Tae-hee Kwan briefed squadrons for the next wave of attacks. Timing, precision, and coordination were paramount. Humans had mastered strategy, and now they applied it flawlessly. Every pilot knew their role, target, the broader strategic effect of their actions. The fleet positioned itself for simultaneous strikes on remaining sectors. Cloaked ships moved silently, anticipating enemy reactions. Alien patrols responded too slowly, deepening confusion and fear. Commanders doubted decisions, second-guessed intelligence, and hesitated at every step. Humans maintained full control over the conflict's pace and direction. Dehayan issued final orders for this phase: strike with precision, focus on weak points, and avoid unnecessary destruction. Demonstrate that humans are strategic, intelligent, and united. Every action must reinforce that we cannot be underestimated. Squadrons executed attacks with flawless timing, disabling communications, neutralizing defenses, and isolating supply lines. The strikes were devastatingly effective. Alien communication lines were down, supply networks severed, and defensive installations powerless. Humans demonstrated strategic mastery. Alien forces were disorganized and hesitant, unable to mount an effective counterattack. Initiative remained firmly with humans, controlling the flow of battle and perception. On Earth, civilians and military personnel observed updates with pride and determination. Humans had proven intelligence, strategy, and discipline. Each victory strengthened confidence and unity. Humanity's ability to act strategically and decisively transformed it from an underestimated species into a formidable galactic power. Council delegates were in complete disarray. Accusations flew, and panic dictated action. Some factions suggested surrender, while others demanded retaliation. Nari Choi struggled to assert authority, but was largely ignored. Human operations had established psychological dominance. Alien leaders doubted each other, lost confidence, and hesitated to act. Humanity's plan had worked perfectly. Captain Dehayan observed the Council's panic from orbit. "We have demonstrated human capability," he said to Miran Lee. "The Council now understands that underestimating us was a grave mistake." Miran nodded. "This is only the beginning. Humanity will continue to assert its strength until the galaxy acknowledges our place." The fleet remained cloaked, holding positions and prepared for further orders. Humans had achieved more than military victories. They had demonstrated intelligence, coordination, and psychological control. In the silent expanse of space, the human fleet prepared for the next stage. Every pilot, engineer, and scientist understood timing, coordination, and precision. Humans were teaching the galaxy a lesson in discipline, intelligence, and unity. The first strikes demonstrated capability. The ongoing operations solidified humanity's reputation as a force not to be ignored, as stars stretched endlessly. Captain Daehyun Kim and his crew realized the truth. Humanity had awakened the galaxy to its potential. Panic, confusion, and hesitation among council members proved humans were no longer underestimated. Earth's people had shown intelligence, strategy, and unity beyond expectation. The next phase would cement humanity's rightful place in the galaxy, leaving no doubt about its strength and capability.